Hello everyone! Welcome back for more Let's Play Broken Sword Shadow of the Templars, the Director's Cut. Joining me is the Yorkshire Raven.
Bonjour.
So, as promised, we're sending George down into the sewer.
Well, my next magic trick, I'm making myself disappear.
Right down here. Well, there sure doesn't seem to be much
If
we
I
can
wanted
actually
to
reach.
get deeper into these catacombs, I was going to have to get onto that path. If the near edge hadn't crumbled away, I could have jumped it easily.
I'd love to see you try that. Let's see. Luckily, we do have a walkway over here George will actually try to use.
The wall had flaked, and anything once written on it had long since gone. The inscription was hard to read, but I made out Templiers and something about innocence. My medieval French isn't much, but the few words I understood seemed to say, "This is where the gallows used to stand." Maybe.
I mean, that's not bad for just picking up a few words. Okay. There are things... We can't do a whole lot here yet, but we can look around. I think the only thing we can look at is this door, as a matter of fact.
I pushed against the door, but it seemed to be locked.
So yeah, there's not a whole lot here for us to look at. I mean, we've got what looks like it could have been stained glass or just a mural of some type of a hanged, presumably a hanged Templar right here.
The wall had flaked, and anything once written on it had long since gone. The wall seemed in very poor condition. The inscription was undecipherable. The plaster had cracked and was falling away. I wondered why. The wall had flaked, and anything...
Okay, so when you hear that, basically you are supposed to clue into the fact that, hey, the wall is weak here and maybe you can knock it down. So, adding to the list of George's crimes, vandalism, destruction of property, because we just happen to have the multi-use key here, which, again, this is kind of rare for most point-and-click adventure games, but we have a tool here that has multiple uses. You still doesn't see that a lot of the time. Not really.
It was time for some brutal destruction. Hey, that's hollow! I'd poked a hole in an historical site. If any archaeologists came by, they'd lynch me for this. There was some sort of mechanism hidden inside the wall, with a lever in the middle of it.
Which kind of makes me wonder something. Why has it been here all this time? You know, you'd think that somebody would have cut... Anybody who wanted to preserve that for any type of historical significance would have cut it out and taken it somewhere. At least that's kind of my take on this. So, now that we have a hole in the wall here.
Here goes. The secret door had jammed. I couldn't get through that gap. I'd pulled the lever right over.
Okay. Now we've pulled that, and once we have pulled that... We can't do anything there yet. We're going to unleash some rope there, or chain, whatever that's actually made out of. And now we're going to completely vandalize the site. And voila, the door is now open. And we can actually progress deeper into here, into a place that I have no idea when the last time somebody would have been here is.
He's just about to stumble onto the set of Afraid of the Dark.
Could be.
Alone in the Dark.
The Midnight Society.
That would also work.
Can you imagine if this was... Can you imagine if this was the way into that mansion? The Carnby mansion?
Yeah.
That would kind of worry me just a little bit. Okay, so... we don't have a whole lot we can look at here. We have this little winch.
Boy, had I ever made a mess of that door.
Sadly, we can't really do anything with that.
What about doing Guybrush Threepwood for the amount of damage?
In the beginning was the end.
An end wrought by our enemies began our darkness.
In the end will be a beginning.
An end to our enemies heralds our new day.
Report.
The military establishments are in flux. The end of the Cold War has left them with no clear goal and as obvious targets for budgetary cuts. We have successfully promoted a sense of betrayal in the upper echelons. They feel that the politicians have cast them adrift. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Good. Mademoiselle?
Governments are giving the corporations more respect than their own citizens. A groundswell of dissatisfaction and dissidence is growing. The corporations are becoming too large and complex for their own executives to control them. A blind belief in market forces is accelerating this trend the world over. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
The global population's belief in those that govern it has never been lower. We have inculcated a sense of immediacy and action over forethought and planning in all the major governments. They are acting on hasty decisions that cannot be completed or revoked without appearing foolish. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Excellent. The tired old governments are dying a slow death from their own incompetence and our machinations. Professor, where is the broken sword?
As we discussed last time, with the loss of the manuscript, our search is as a corollary hindered.
And as discussed last time, you have been furnished with a dramatically increased budget. What have you been doing with our money, Professor?
We are working on the principle that the Templars, that is to say our predecessors,
Hold on. These are the Templars?
must have left a trail when they were hiding the clues to the sword of Baphomet's location. I have a small army of historians and archaeologists ferreting out that trail.
I trust these historians and archaeologists are more trustworthy than your friend Pegram.
Pegram was loyal. He tried to protect the Lochmarn gem when the Hashashin came near.
And failed. And don't call that Syrian maniac the Hashashin. He's an assassin. Plain and simple.
That's not what he believes. He actually thinks.
Silence! Do I have to remind you that we have a sacred duty? A trust? When Philippe attempted to destroy the Order, we lost the sword and our power with it. Now we have the opportunity to reforge it. But time is short. We need results, not petty bickering, not excuses. Now, Professor Baphomet.
Yes, of course, my apologies. We will find Baphomet and the sword, manuscript or no. We have already found another element actually within Paris.
Excellent. What is it?
Well, we're not exactly sure at present.
Ha!
But I have my best people working on it. You would do well not to criticize others, Eklund. At least I have not murdered one of our own.
Of course. That guy was the bogus doctor in the hospital.
Marquet was a liability. Eklund dealt with him on my orders.
I beg your pardon, Grandmaster. I did not mean to.
Have you any good news for us, Professor?
We already know 3 of the elements. We know that Klausner had obtained the lens before he vanished.
Where was he?
Syria. We know that he arrived, but after that, nothing.
The assassin.
I fear so. It's a shame. Klausner was a good operative.
This will be our last meeting in person until we locate the sword of Baphomet. I hope that I don't need to emphasize the importance of finding it. Without it, our endeavors come to nothing. With the sword reforged, we will have the power to sweep the stage of all opposition the next time that we meet. It will be to become the princess of this world!
Wow.
I'm hearing a Queen song playing in the background. Phew. We finally found the secret society. Only took us, what, 60-70% of the game? So what we got here? Non omnis moriar clarior tenebris. Something like that? Ah, that looks kind of funny, doesn't it? Almost like there's some indentations on that. In the shape of a triangle. Or a tripod.
The tripod's feet fitted neatly into the notches on the top of the stump.
And well, with the tripod, the gem is actually useful.
The light falling from above struck the gem and scattered in 5 neat rays. And each ray picked out a letter. Starting from the left, I could read M-A-R-I-B. Marib. Now all I had to do was figure out what the heck that meant.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch...
Nico, I've seen them.
Who?
The Templars. I spied on their meeting in the catacombs.
And you saw the Knights Templar?
I saw a bunch of guys masquerading as Templars. They're after something called the Sword of Baphomet. The bogus doctor was there, the guy who killed Marquet. The manuscript is the key, just as we thought. It shows the way to the broken sword, whatever that is.
And how does the assassin fit into all this?
He's out to stop them. These Neo-Templars, they're men and women in influential positions. Don't you see? Plantar was one of them. The assassin killed him for the manuscript, to stop them finding the sword.
But now we have got the manuscript.
Yes.
So, how do they hope to find the sword?
I don't know. They said something about a lens and a guy called Klausner who's gone to Syria, but they didn't seem to realize the significance of the very site of their meeting. You see, after they'd gone, I discovered a stone pedestal and a carved inscription. I set up the gem on the tripod, directly below a beam of light. The gem split the beam and lit the letters M-A-R-I-B.
Marib is a village in Syria. You're not thinking of going there yourself, are you?
Why not?
These guys are crazy and dangerous. That reminds me, you should leave the gem here.
Okay, what about the tripod?
I'll send it back to Andre, anonymously.
Oh, that's useful.
No.
We don't want to show her the red ball we got after learning how not to look like a complete fool at all times? Why not?
Indeed.
Is there something going on between you and Labano?
What business is it of yours? We agreed all this, the clown, the Templars, strictly business, remember?
Yeah, but...
So get off my case.
I mean, this is a fair point.
Do you think I should go to Marib?
Syria is a long way, Georges.
We're totally going to Syria. Can we actually go to other places? Yeah, we can totally go all the way to Spain for no reason whatsoever. Can't go to Ireland anymore, though.
And from Ireland.
A few hours later. You know, I am suddenly reminded of playing Mega Man Battle Network 2. There's a bit in there with a lot of plane rides going on. But I won't think about that right now. I don't want to be sad. Anyway.
Hey there, young fella. Speak you the English? Speak you the Anglais? Parlez-vous anglais?
Yes, si, and indeed oui, and rather better than you by the sound of it. My name is Nijo. Welcome to my grand emporium of quality merchandise.
Oh god, he's Dibbler.
It's
So,
to
this is
bow
your
myself
stand?
on.
Oh, yes, sir. Though Stan does not begin to do it justice. The finest in this bustling metropolis.
This is a bustling metropolis?
Well, not per se, no.
Yes, I see on Sundays.
But this is Dibbler. We have found the Dibbler in the adventure game. Or the Stan, if you're more of a Monkey Island fan.
How much are those books there on the shelf?
Have you any Syrian pounds?
I think I might have a couple of Irish pund.
Then they're too expensive for you, sir.
That's fair.
You speak very good English.
Thank you, sir. I learned from tapes that my uncle procured.
Oh, a language course.
No, sir. Jeeves and Wooster. Cassie, Fink, Noto, Aunt Agatha. What ho?
Jeeves and Wooster. Not a reference I expected to hear in this game, but I probably should have. Jeeves and Wooster was Hugh Laurie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I mean, if you're going to listen to an Englishman that can do an American accent, you're not going to get much better.
Does the word Templar mean anything to you?
Templar. Ah, Templar. Templar. Why, yes, of course.
It does?
Yes. A splendid series of books by Mr. Leslie Chatteris, featuring the roguish Mr. Simon Templar.
Great. That's a real help, Nijo. Anything else?
The Saint television program, featuring Mr. Roger Moore of the quizzical eyebrow. and a stick man with a halo. Bing!
Did not expect that reference either. God, that was not a long-running show.
So all Templar means to you is Roger Moore.
I only watched it for the stick man with the halo. Bing! He was better animated.
So I'm correct in saying that the word Templar doesn't mean much to you.
Well, there was the Order of Knights who were wiped out in an Inquisition in 1312, I suppose.
That's them. What else do you know?
Just how much information do you think there is on a Trivial Pursuit card?
A what?
From the medieval editions. We had it on the stand a couple of years ago. Ask me what a feuter is. Go on, I know all this stuff.
Never mind.
I mean, that is fair.
Okay, forget about the Templars for a minute. What do you know about knights?
Like the Crusaders, they came to the East on an insane and pointless mission. They sacrificed thousands of lives, including their own, for insensate pride. How anyone can find them romantic confounds me.
Boy, we've been talking about the differences in audio quality from different conversations and stuff. The audio quality in that particular bit of dialogue changed almost every line. Almost every line, it sounded like he walked into a closet to record one line. He walked into the bathroom to record the next line. Then he walked into the studio to record another line. But, let's see. Let's go ahead and exhaust your conversation here.
Have you seen this man before?
No, sir, I'm glad to say. Cold eyes.
This plaster was very useful in Ireland.
Really? Your fund of travelers' tales never ceases to enthrall me.
What do you make of this?
A man-sized double-ply tissue stained with Bestheimer's number 12 white pancake grease paint, apparently.
Of all the characters they give to know the exact details.
Yeah?
Here, shake hands, Nijo.
I'd rather not, sir.
I'm also going to say that considering this is an Arabic area, there's probably a very good reason he does not want to shake hands with the American.
Look at this. A lifting key as used by Parisian sewer workers.
Kaloo Kalay, sir. I must remember this day for posterity. My grandchildren will be fascinated.
You are too young to be this cynical and sarcastic.
What do you make of this?
Well, beyond the obvious, very little. That pattern seems very familiar, though.
Do you know the name Merlin?
I'm afraid not, old bean.
What can I do with a blood pressure gauge?
Don't tempt me to tell you, sir.
Oh, go on!
What do you think of this, eh?
Oh, sir, what a splendid plaything. One day, when I am rich, I am going to build a world-renowned collection of brightly colored balls.
Are you serious?
In deadly earnest. People will come from far and wide to see my
Yes?
collection. The Rockefellers and the Gettys can keep their hoards of so-called fine art. But answer me this. What good is a Picasso, I ask you, if you cannot bounce it off a wall?
You may have a point. Seriously, do you really think this thing's so great?
Take it away, you tempter.
I'll swap it for something off your stand.
Due to seasonal financial considerations, I'm afraid I cannot.
I thought you wanted this thing.
I do, sir. The stand doesn't.
which in translation meant it's not really my stand, and I'll be in big trouble if I swap anything for something that I want myself.
Alternatively, is there any service that you require?
Not at the moment, but I'll bear it in mind.
Which is fair enough.
So long, Nijo.
Toodle pip, sir.
God, that just sounds so wrong. So this is a character we have run into. And we have a shiny ball he's interested in, but he can't really trade us for anything, you know, he can't give us an item for it, but he might be able to do us a favor in the future. But we'll have to keep that in mind. But we will keep it in mind next time, because it's time to take a break. So, until next time, take care, everyone.
Yeah, folks. Toodle pip.
Toodle pip.